What's happening, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and today I'm joined by Shannon Times
What's up? What's up?
and Levon Maynard.
What at?
So, another action-packed show, having a really good week. Please make sure you tune in to all the episodes that happen this week. In this particular episode, I will lead us in a discussion about the current employee lockdown stress that's has been being reported. So I took this from the threat post. This is applicable. I don't know to everybody's job, but since emerging from the pandemic, I have seen that people are very lax with their computer usage. And also am noticing people like, yeah, I got a virus, or yeah, I got this, or yeah, somebody took my credentials, or yeah, all this ransomware. And the site is trying to link the two together, which does make sense because people are working from home, or just because they're stressed out and doing their job in the COVID environment, having to sit there with the mask on their cubicle and what have you. A lot of them are using what they're calling shadow IT applications, which basically just means they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Like when we get our accounts in most organizations, you sign a user agreement, you're told what you can and cannot do with your work computer. And they've noticed an uptick since the pandemic of people just doing whatever the hell they want to do with their computer. I've witnessed it myself. You're like, come on, that's that's your work computer. You can't do that. Or just using programs that are end of life, or just programs that they retrieve that are not exactly legal copies, just because it makes their life easier, it makes it more efficient. I get that. But we're also seeing it, like we said last week, in the banking industry, where I think it was Flagstar or whatever the name of that bank was from overseas, with the funny money and their big bills, um, using end of life software that got them a data breach. So, with all that being said, how do you guys feel about this?
Yeah, it seems like I think people are just getting too comfortable. It's been a long pandemic. Everybody's been on lockdown. Everybody's getting a little what's it, cabin fever? A little bit of the cabin
Yeah,
fever. So they're trying to people trying to make life easy. And I think besides just the employees themselves, I know that companies in general just been like kind of open things up so that they can. We need to get you guys to work, so we're going to open up all the firewalls and make sure you guys can connect from home or wherever you're at, from your mobile phone or whatever. Some people may not be going through the same the proper steps, proper protocols to secure their networks. Make sure they're not like opening up their uh, their infrastructure to the bad guys, and also like the devices too. I'm sure that a lot of companies may be issuing out laptops or like whatever devices they can use so they can connect to the network, and maybe the company hasn't secured them enough that employees can just do whatever they want. They can start installing these like random applications like you were describing, Ryan, and they can use the shadow IT and just like use programs to kind of like make their jobs easier, try to automate some things, but things that may be outside of the company's policy. Um, and I think it's on the employee as well as the company as well to make sure that the employees don't have full access to the device. They don't have like admin rights to be installing. Should be locking down these components, and they should have the rights. I mean, they should have minimal rights to do the job. Uh, the work computer should be for work, and should be no other like Facebooks and Twitter and all this other kind of stuff. Unless you're watching the podcast, you can watch the podcast on your work device. But anything besides that, you gotta
right.
like put an X on it. But I think that's probably the main thing. People just getting kind of fed up or just getting like comfortable. They're at home. They got the kids there. They got stuff running, going on behind them. They just want to make their lives a little bit easier. One less thing to worry about. Try to make something that they do every day on their work computer, just make it easier. So I think that's probably like the gist of it. And like I said, hopefully companies they can try to lock down the devices a little bit more, make it more secure, so they don't have this situation popping up. But you have some thoughts on it as well, Shannon?
So I do. When I read this, it I don't want to say it was shocking to me, but it was one of those things that I'm like, why would you do this? Like, to me, it just seems like you're violating the terms of your employment, right? Because I can almost guarantee you that your company made you either sign something or acknowledge somehow through training that you're not supposed to install anything that you're not supposed to be installing. Like even with the telework that's going on now, right? Because I don't understand why someone would think that's okay, right?
So a quick example,
But
on certain computer systems, when you plug into their network, you cannot get to your Google Drive and things of that nature. You can't basically remote into to infiltrate and extract data. But as soon as you take that same laptop home, it's game on, and
Mm.
people just, for whatever reason or on purpose, they're like, "Yeah, I want to be able to pull all my files with people's PII on them onto
right.
the."
But it's still logged more than likely, right? And
Right.
I don't know what each company has when it comes to their data loss prevention is what that's called, data loss prevention system or whatever, right? I
Right.
don't know what they have for that, but more than likely it's logged. And the second you plug back up into that network, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be a log. It's going to go forward to some server somewhere that says, "Hey, this person did this, that, and the third," right? And if people are doing their job in their IT department, they're going to see it and it's going to flag, right? So
Right.
but here's the thing, it's like, it's wrong though, right? I don't understand why people think it is okay, because it is now convenient for them, with it being a term of your employment. Don't get mad. So like if you get caught doing this, don't get mad when you get fired, right?
Mhm.
Like you can't, because you signed on saying, and again, I'm making an assumption here, right? Like I know we always talk about how these companies should be doing this, that, and the third better, but I think this is like 101 stuff. I'm fairly confident that 100% of the companies out there have you sign something saying don't put anything illegal on our networks, right? Like if you're going to do any type of telework or whatever. But
Yeah.
you I can't see how if this was me, right? My convenience should not be more of a priority than the company fulfilling its mission, right? That shouldn't be the case. Now
Right.
it's inconvenient. I get it, right? Like I'm one of those people where I don't mind it. Like I don't mind doing this because it gives me a little bit more time to do other things. Like if my workday gets extended, you know what I mean, because I have to run an errand or something, it's a lot easier. You know what I mean? But maybe it's because my company's a little more understanding, right? I just have to let my boss know, hey, got a doctor's appointment. I'm gonna be out of pocket for a few hours. I've never had it where he's come back and been like, no, you can't do that because of this, that, and the third. I make sure I make all my telecoms, I make all my meetings. You know what I mean? I provide, any type of artifacts or anything like that that need to be done. I just don't get it. Like it should not overweigh anything. And to me, man, I know I seem like I'm the one that's always going away from IT, but this is just one of those things. Like this is I think this is a product of a society that we live in, to where it's like you need to do better to make sure everything is good for me. No, that's not the case. You know what I mean? I'm Me as an employee, I'm not paying you, you're paying me. So you tell me what the demands are. You know what I mean? You tell me what I need to do. Hence me signing whatever letter I signed, or acknowledging, however, through training, right? Saying I will not do this, that, and the third. And I think that's just the way we're going. Is people are just like, this isn't convenient for me, so I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, and I don't care. Well, you should care when you're out of a job, right? Because those things are not, like, there are people in lines at food pantries right now to get food, that are not as fortunate as you, that have a job to do something, right? So do everything you can to keep it and be good at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That,
Yeah,
that's that's what struck me when I read it. I was just like,
yeah,
why do people think that's okay?
I definitely don't disagree with you, but as you were describing it, something I don't know if it clicked or I just so our perspective is always going to be comm focused because we work for either IT or cybersecurity or some type of company like that. What about a person who is in project management and they don't have a security person, but they still are accessing files from home and what have you, and they're using third party software or whatever on their own computer, but they still access the intranet at work, or what I mean, like just people who just have no, because we get it every single year for the past. I've gotten at least 18, and then when I got in trouble another night, I got another one. I had to sign another user agreement for doing what I shouldn't be doing on the computer. Back when I was a young airman. Don't worry about that. But but
But
so I've been signing user agreements for 20 years. It's been browbeat into me. But what if you've never done that? What
so
if what
so
if your first laptop is your issue laptop
so
and you
here's
took
the
that bad
here's
boy home?
but here's the thing though. I still find it hard to believe, even if you're not a company for IT. Even, let's say it's a construction company, right? So let's say somebody works for a construction company. If they have an intranet of some type,
Uh,
somebody set it up and somebody said this is what you should and should not do on this. Like I find it very hard to believe, and again, my experience is limited, that even a company that is not directly IT focused has not taken advantage of telling people that they should not be adding things to the network or whatever. Because for them, it could equal, if you get a virus on your intranet, what does that do for you as a construction company? All those blueprints you may have had for different contracts or whatever,
right.
or companies that you were building for, that stuff can go away. You know what I mean? It could you all of a sudden you hit with some ransomware, right? Like, oh, if you want all this back, you small little construction company got to pay me $500,000 or whatever it may be, and that's gonna hurt. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I just find it hard to believe that they have not that thought that far forward. And that's not even thinking that far forward to me. And you know what? You know what it could be? It could be something you referenced before in a previous podcast, Levon. I've been doing it for so long, right? With my experience, like maybe it's just the expectation, right? And maybe that's what it is. Like I don't know what I don't know though. I haven't worked for a construction company. I've stayed in IT since I've retired, right? So for me, like you said, Ryan, I still see those user agreements I gotta assign,
Right.
right? Like I still see all those things, but it just seems like, and especially in this day and age with IT, like they have to be hip to the game, right?
Right. So maybe that's so again, another light bulb, right? Went off. What if this is a prime example of what a vCISO is for those
I
companies who've never had an IT person? So instead of like Jim or Jill setting up the network and they have no clue how to set it up, but they want to do their own private business, they want to do it remotely. They need you, Shannon.
I see. I,
They need
I
you.
I swear to you, I was going to say that, but I pulled back. I swear to you
It might
before
be. It might be
be-
that. It might
before
be it.
like before I handed it back to you, Ryan, I was gonna be like, well, the V CISO they possibly have should still
Yeah.
know that, right?
Well,
Like
because they don't have it, and because they saw all these vacancies in actual companies that report that they have vacancies. What about the mom and pops and the side hustle contractors and all that good stuff? They have no clue. Maybe they never even had a user agreement before, or maybe they just don't know that they need to generate one. And next thing you know, I plug in my Android because we don't have those issues with Apple products, and then now I got a virus.
you could be right. You could very well be right on that, Ryan. Like I said, my experience is limited, and that could be the case. Like if
But
some
I don't
mom and
know.
pop shop, they just yeah.
Because again, my view is very myopic as well. Because I've never worked for a company uh, outside. So before I joined the military, I worked for a bank. We didn't do any work outside. I counted checks and I deposited them after hours. So there was really no computer use. And after that, I did, or I'm sorry, before that, I did J.C. Penney's. I was folding Dockers. So
Mm, mm.
I don't know. I don't know what's out there.
But you're going back 18, 20 years to where
Right.
it wasn't as prevalent for, ransomware and viruses and things of that nature. Computers were around, right? But it wasn't as prevalent, it wasn't as well known as it is today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with the way news gets out so easily now. Like you can have it like that someone got attacked by some type of malware or whatever, right? So
Mhm.
people now I think are more hip to the game than what it was. Like my very first job, I was working in a nursing home kitchen, right? Like I wasn't around any electronics or anything like that either, right? I just had to make sure I had a hairnet if needed, and I had gloves on if I was touching food. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
that's what it was. Like
Right.
I hear you, man.
But
That
yeah, I don't know. But maybe that's the drive behind this new virtual sizzle thing, because you could work for a couple companies and probably charge them good money just to implement from cradle to grave cybersecurity. Like maybe that's what I'll do. Work for five companies making six figures at each because they
That's right.
need me. Y'all need me.
hey, you'll
But
find out.
I don't think it works like that though. I still
Look,
got to
Yeah, I
get
was
a
gonna
hold
you
say
know if
of
that's
a
the
it's
V
like
case.
Sizzle. I don't
Hey,
think it works
look,
like that.
if that's the case, look, I'm
Yeah,
going to
it's
school.
probably
I'm
that's why
going.
they yeah, that's why in the article it said a fraction of the cost. I got to work five different jobs to build one salary. Or not. I don't know. None of them will talk to me. I'm talking to you, V Sizzles. I've been reaching out and it's a secret organization Y'all all work together apparently, because none of y'all let me know how it works. Oh, confidentiality. I'm staring at y'all through the podcast. Just give me a hint of how this job works.
Right.
Well,
The V Sizzle Masons.
yeah,
Yeah.
man.
The Masons Underground Club.
They won't break it down to me. I just need to know how does the job work? Like, but I mean, one of them did tell me it's about confidentiality though. Like they don't want to disclose contracts, things of that nature, and I get that. Um,
But you're not
but
asking for specifics of the contract for a company they work for. You just want to
yeah,
know.
or the companies. Don't even tell me the
Yeah.
companies. Just
Yeah.
how what is a day in the life of VCISO is what I'm looking for. So that's a plug out there. If you know a VCISO or somebody who claims to be VCISO, we could do it anonymously. I could do like back in the day when they had the black silhouette with the voice modulator.
I like
So
that.
I can tell me our secrets.
Blur them out.
Yeah. We went all off the rails. Anybody got anything else to say about
Yeah,
shadow IT? I even
yeah,
know
we
it's a
covered
term.
it.
They made up a whole new term on this. I'm probably going to call it shadow IT because that just sounds cool.
I think I've heard that before, but not too often.
Yeah, I've never. It's a first.
Yeah,
But, all right. Well, shout out to my co-host. It's a good conversation. Shout out to the Patreon patrons and shout out to all those listening to it on free feed. So if you're a YouTube subscriber, or if you're not a YouTube subscriber, I should say, please subscribe, like, share, hit that bell. Let us know what you like. If you are listening to us on your podcast service of choice, you can still give us input. You can even leave a voice message if you want to. Um, when it comes to our social media, you can hit us up on www.theothersideofthefirewall.com. That leads to all of the different social media platforms that we're on. And then personally, you can hit me up on Twitter, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, or TikTok at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. And Levon?
And hit me up at the Twitters on at Levon Maynard.
There it is. So y'all be easy.
Roger that. Take care, everybody.